up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Now, when I first actually got to play around with Anthem and checked out all of the different classes, I saw their abilities and I was, kind of underwhelmed. Everything felt like very basic attacks that had cool little priming abilities. However, as slowly I worked my way up into the Grand Masters, by the way, we doing Grand Master 2 these days, just letting you know, I actually started seeing all of these Masterwork components, systems, and whatnot drop, and I was like, holy shit, this changes absolutely freaking everything. So I'm really excited, and I wanted to give you guys a little glimpse of the Interceptor, I guess you would say, Masterwork ability collection, because it does really change things. So let's go ahead and start things off with components. Now, as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of components. I've even got a legendary one. However, I do have one that's not Masterwork, so we won't be taking a look at that. I feel really bad. I've been trying to get the last one Masterwork so that I could hopefully push myself up into the Masterwork Javelin situation, but as you can see here, these are all of the different components. Now, if we look at like the basic components, we'll have things that increase acid damage and oxygen capacity of base values. We've got things that add 10% of the base damage to your melee strikes. Things very simple like that. Absolutely nothing too nuts. So this one enhances the assault system to increase the damage by 5% of the base damage. So as you can see, there's a lot of very like low level kind of things here. But when we get into the Masterworks and we get into the legendary stuff, things change a lot. So the way of resolve, so this one increases Interceptor melee damage by 10%. Seems pretty basic there, right? However, as you can see in the orange text right here, golden text, orange, it's golden, orange, that text, it actually gives you an additional information. So this is the upgraded version. You get Interceptor melee damage by 10%, but dashing increases melee up to 40% for 10 seconds. So now you're getting 50% damage increase to your melee just by dashing. So that's the way of resolve. Now, way of the Swift, it increases the assault system damage by 5%, and we've already seen that, right? We've already seen kind of like a, here's our assault system version, but any one hit increases the damage by 50% for 5 seconds. So as you can see right there, it's giving us additional boosts in damage, which is always nice. Moving along, we have Way of the Bold. This one increases the Auro combo counter strength by 40%, the basic version. However, defeating an enemy with a melee restores 20% armor. Now, in this game, armor is your health. So it's like killing an enemy with melee is going to give you 20% of your health back. And the fact is, there are many items that cause health orbs to drop as well. So not only will you get that 20% of your armor back, you'll also usually get a health orb out of it. So you're getting a nice chunk of health back every single time you kill an enemy. Conductive Lattice, this one is really fun. So increases electricity damage, electricity resistance, and gear cooldown speed. Boring, but it is what it is, right? However, the upgraded Masterwork version of that performs a, whenever you perform a small melee hit streak of 3, so you just gotta do 3 hit streaks, it detonates an electric explosion. So whenever you're fighting enemies, you're doing your normal damage, then every 3 hits, boom, electricity AoE explosion around you. And this is really, things like this is what turns the Interceptor into an insane killing machine. It's really fun. We're gonna skip over Battle Inscription because Rob failed. I've been grinding. I still don't have my replacement for that. But we're going to move on to Vengeance Matrix. It increases all damage dealt by 50% and damage taken by -25. Now, the thing is, a part of me feels like, is that wrong? I'm not sure exactly how that goes, because I feel like it's supposed to says increases damage taken by 25%, not -25. I don't know, I'm just saying. But on low health, all damage is increased by 25 for 5 seconds. So when you start dipping down, you go into berserker mode and you start dealing some damage. Now real quick, what I've actually got queued up is there's a couple other components that are listed here as well that I wanted to go ahead and show you guys. Now of course this isn't all, you know, anything can change at any point in time, but there's also survival there's elusive talisman. Using triple dash reloads the equipped weapon. Sounds kind of boring, sure, why not? Increases survival algorithm. Removing an allied status effect returns 20% of your shields. Has a 10-second cooldown. Boring. I feel like I got some of the better ones. Increasing a maximum, okay, survival algorithm increases maximal shields by 35% and decreases armor by 35%. This one is clearing a negative status, recharges shields by 20%, can occur once every 10 seconds. I guess. Talisman of Power. Hitting enemies with a strike system gear will increase the damage of assault system gear by 50% for 5 seconds. It's a nice way to kind of like use your detonators and your primers, and then it kind of makes everything jive a little bit more. We have the Swift. Hitting an enemy with your assault gear increases your strike gear damage by 50 for 5 seconds. So it kind of goes both ways. You know, you get a little bit of the interplay there, and those are going to be the last of the component systems that we're taking a look at. I think that I'm gonna be honest, I think that I got like a good hand in these ones. I just need, you know, just a little extra love to push myself into Masterwork. Now, moving along, we have some, let's go with assault system first. As you can see, I got nice and lucky and I got some legendaries. So my current setup right now is Absolute Zero and Sudden Death. Love those two, but as you can see right here, Absolute Zero. So it's the upgraded Cryoglaive. It locks onto 5 targets, and then the bonus is hitting an enemy from above detonates an ice explosion. So you do have to be like you hovering for it, to be completely honest with you, or pretty high up, because I've noticed that the ice explosion doesn't always go off, but it's still very, very handy to have. This next one, we've got Ruthless Stalker. So, you know, it's the upgraded Searching Glaive, and the gadget seeks out an enemy target. Now, Striker's Fury. Hitting an enemy increases weapon damage by 60% for 20 seconds. That is a nice long buff. I've noticed that a lot of the buffs that kind of occur in the game, they last for maybe 5 to 10 seconds, but this one is 20 seconds? That's not bad at all, and the recharge is 14 seconds. So as long as you're tossing this out, you get increased weapon damage that whole entire time. I'm loving it. Now see, these ones are Absolute Zeros as well. As you can see, I've got 3 different variations, so it's gonna be the same effect. Let's go take a look at Bitter Harvest. Upgraded Cluster Mine. So Cluster Mines deploy a bundle of proximity mines. For you, those of you guys who haven't seen it, you kind of like lob it at an enemy, and then all these little mines pop out and can deal a large chunk of damage. But as you can see right here, Cluster Mine permanently gains an extra charge. So now you've got 2 Cluster Mines, and it's very, very sexy. So lots of damage that you can lay into enemies. Moving along, we have Reneri's Charge. This is an upgrade to Spark Dash. So, you know, it's got the combo effect aura, but defeating an enemy recharges Spark Dash can occur once every 5 seconds. So legitimately, you gonna be spark dashing all over the place. It is really, really cool. The only thing that I want to kind of really point out with Spark Dash is just be careful, because you do have a little bit of a charge up when you're, you know, getting ready to do your dash, and I believe you're vulnerable during that time period. So I played around with it a little bit. I didn't go too apeshit with it, but I had fun. Moving along, we have Serpent's Veil. This is the last systems that we have, and this is for Venom Bomb. This one is really, really cool. Drenches an area in acid, so that's a standard Venom Bomb, but Mauler's Venom comes into place. Melee weapon defeats increase all acid damage by 100% for 10 seconds. So, you know, just dump this on an enemy and start going crazy. Start taking them out left, right, and center, and the acid damage will slowly increase. So, very, very excited for that. My favorite still of the bunch is Cryoglaive, with my second coming in as Serpent's Veil. The only thing is, I usually only run with Serpent's Veil if, I have a friend who's running around CCing enemies. Because if they're iced out, and then we get a little bit of acid on them as well. They take more damage, so they're CC'd and they're debuffed, which is very, very nice. So that's it for the assault systems at this moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the strike systems. I actually don't have everything for the strike systems. Detonating strike is the last one I have yet to collect. But let's take a look at this one. This is Sanadine's Respite, and I keep looking at it and all I can think of is Paladine. So it's an upgraded Plasma Star. As you guys know, you get 4 charges of Plasma Star that you can throw at an enemy, and it slowly recharges over time. The Throwing Star that melts through armor. So as you can see, there is a little insignia. Where are you? Listen, Sanadine, right there. You can see it's got that little insignia there that says it melts through armor, but hitting enemy weak spots instantly restores 35% shields. So very, very handy. And you know, with these ones you can actually take out a lot of kind of like trash minions, or you can just go ahead and, you know, just keep hitting the weak spots of some bigger minions to get your shields back after they kind of knocked you around a little bit. So that's what we've got there. This one is really, really fun. Shadow Claw. Upgraded Wraith Strike projects a ghost to target. And as you guys know, the ghost can bounce around a couple times to hit enemies. But as you can see, instantly recharges on a small kill streak. So you got to kill 2 enemies in quick succession to go ahead and get it back. But as you can see here, I got a good roll on it. And you can see I've got gear 100% charges. So I have 2 casts of Shadow Claw. So what I'll usually do is I'll cast out a Shadow Claw to kind of like weaken the enemies. And then I'll go in to kill the enemies, you know, kill the enemies or weaken them even more. And if I need more help, I'll launch the second Shadow Claw, which will refresh the first Shadow Claw. Oh, it's so good. I like that one a lot, but I don't feel like, because it doesn't have any kind of detonator along with it, I usually like to carry a detonator on the first ability and then, or not a detonator on the first, a primer on the first ability, detonator on the second ability, or vice versa. This one does neither, but it's really handy when you need to take out like ranged targets. Also keep in mind, do your best to kind of like aim it forward. Moving along, we have Sudden Death. Oh, this makes my heart feel good. Okay, so this is what I've got currently equipped. This is, oh my god, I've noticed that it doesn't show up on here. It's only showing up here. Well, you're gonna have to take my word for it. That's how it goes. But the upgraded Tempest Strike, the combo effect, the aura, hitting an enemy detonates a fire explosion. Nothing complicated. You just hit an enemy and you get a fire explosion. So when you go in with your little ice glaive, you ice them out, they all frozen, or you dash around a little bit so you can get the aura all over the place, and then you do a bam with Sudden Death, fire explosion. But not sure if you can see the roll that I got on it. Gear 100% charges, so that means I have 2 of this. I can go in and I can lay one in on an enemy, do a couple more melees, lay another one in on that enemy, and just have this big pulse of fire all over the place. Oh my god, it feels so good. I absolutely love it. It's really, really fun. Definitely my favorite of the bunch so far. But we do have one last to cover, which is Viper's Bite. Upgraded Fenton Spray, so it sprays the cones of acid. If you guys have ever played, you know, Warframe, it's like Saren with her miasma. She goes, and like the venom goes out, but it's more like this. It's just a cone. It's not an AoE. But hitting an enemy adds 700 ultimate charge. Now, they did recently change this to make sure that the direction of the cone is faced towards your reticule, not faced towards your javelin, because as you guys know, there's a lot of dashing that happens all over the place, and sometimes you're not pointed the right way. So it does feel a little bit better. But remember, hitting an enemy adds 700 ultimate charge. That's for every enemy you hit. So each enemy that you strike with it is going to increase your charge of your ultimate a lot faster. It's fucking fantastic. Absolutely love it. I was actually playing around with that and Spark Dash the other day, and I was quite liking it, except I didn't have any CC, and without my, you know, friends to help me CC enemies, they can be a little bit troublesome. Alright, so that about does it for all of the different Masterworks that we're taking. Like, I do want to give you guys a little preview of some of the weapons. My favorite right now is Unending Battle, so it's a fulcrum for those of you guys who don't know, and then it has the buff Gladiator's Wrath. Hitting an enemy at point blank range, because you melee, increases weapon and melee damage by 110% for 5 seconds. increases weapon and melee damage by 110% for 5 weapons. Now, of course, you gotta do melee, 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 unending battle, melee, 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 unending battle. You gotta like chain it in there, but damn, that is fucking sick. Let's see if there's anything else that really stands out to me that makes me go like, oh my god, you need this. But definitely that is my favorite when it comes down to kind of like melee, you know, melee damage, like focused kind of stuff. So really big fan of that. There's another one which was Rolling Carnage I was just playing around with, and this one is an upgraded Vengeance. So, Scout's Advantage. Dashing increases this weapon's damage by 50% for 20 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. So that's 150 bonus damage that you're getting off of Rolling Carnage. And again, that's an upgraded Vengeance. Really like that one. I think that's pretty much the only ones that I feel are really specific really specific to a Interceptor. There's a lot of other great weapons out there that I really do love. So part of me is kind of like, all right, well, you know, that's all fantastic, but that's more generic. Like, let me point out one more that I really like. Where are you, boo? Oh, it's right here. Thunderbolt of Yavenia. Upgraded Scout. So it's an upgraded Scout rifle. Or the Scout rifle. Sorry. It's weird because I know Scout rifle from other games, but this is like upgraded Scout. So has a 33% chance to deal large electric damage. Fantastic for taking out shields. So really like this one for any of those pesky storms that just hover in the air. You just kind of juke around a little bit and start like popping off at them and use the electricity to really whittle down their shields. And the last one that I really like as well, where are you? Siegebreaker? Yeah, this is the upgraded Whirlwind. So on a hit streak, so for those of you guys who don't know what the Whirlwind is, it's a sniper rifle, but it's a fully automatic sniper rifle. It's like one of those fast fire rate sniper rifles, right? On a hit streak, 3, so 3 is how many you gotta hit, shots freeze the target. Now the thing is, shots freeze the target, but that freeze counts as a primer for you to detonate. So let's say you don't want to go ahead and use your, the frozen glaive or whatever that is. You can go in, prime a target from far away, go in, get your ice aura for your CC, and then use your toxin for the rest. I'm really utterly impressed and blown away. There's so much synergy when it comes to this game. I'm absolutely loving it, and I am going to get back on the grind to see if I can get, apparently Target Beacon, this support system doesn't really exist. I just want to see if I can go ahead and grab myself one last component, so I can hopefully try to push myself up into the Masterwork variation. Regardless, that about does it for me for now. Hopefully this showed you guys the potential of what Masterworks can do for each of the javelins. My friend has a storm javelin that he runs, and a lot of his abilities are, if you're hovering in the air and you hit an enemy beneath you, it grants you an extra charge of that ability. So for you storm lovers out there, just prepare yourself and just get ready to hover, because you just throwing out all of those elemental effects. Anyway, that about does it for me for now. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.